I suspect there's a lot more people that's going to be joining us this morning, but the morning is so tight in terms of time, we don't have any time to waste. So the first thing I would like to do is welcome everybody to what is certainly a very important and momentous time for us at least, where we're going to go through this process of designing the public realm for District 6. And the young lady was telling me going up the steps that, in fact, District 6 has been doing this for a very long time, right? The conversations, the arguments, the debates around District 6 has been going on for a very, very long time. The bulk of the debates has been going around housing. Right? Where the housing, when the housing, why is it not being delivered yet? All those conversations are very important, but it's not the conversation we're having today. Today we're having a conversation around the public realm. And we'll get to talk about what that is and how we're going about that in a moment. The first thing I want to do is ask our client, Liesl, to give us a very short welcome, please.
I'm going to just attach it to your scarf. Cool.
Can you all hear me? Okay. From the City of Cape Town, now park them. From me, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. The city really appreciate you giving your time, wanting to help us to figure this one out. We cannot say thank you enough for you. Clearly, the community thinks that you are the key leaders, that you are people that's got a vested interest in this place, and that you can represent them to help us to understand better in terms of what those next steps are. You spending time here with us, we know you could be anywhere else, but you are here, and that is priceless. I can promise you that we don't know 100% how the housing program is going to pan out in terms of the timing. We don't know what tomorrow brings now with COVID even. But we want to get on with kind of like figuring out how we can get that character, that place back. Because every time when I looked at photos, I see people. I don't see a house, I don't see a door, I don't see a building. I see people and the story of District 6. Help us to write that story from here on forward. As we said to you before, it's like a tree. The tree has been uprooted and put somewhere else, and it's not growing as well. We want to replant that tree. We want to get the roots nice and strong in there, and that's the past. We want to build on the past, but we want it healthy. And then we're going to grow that stem. For a while, you don't see immediately things growing on a tree, do you? You see that slow growth in terms of it happening. And then at some point, those green shoots start coming out, and the trees start growing. And eventually, we will have fruit. And the kids will play under the trees, and we'll tell the next story under that tree. So this is going to be a long process. We're squashing this public realm strategy, this thinking about the public spaces and what we'd like to see in as quick as we can in the middle here, so that it can input the local area spatial development framework and also the housing thing, so that things could come together. So I'm really pleased that you are here today. We've got wonderful consultants. I tell you, their heart is in the right place. So help them, help us. And you are also those people that can, I think it was written in the media somewhere, you are the bridge for us with the community as well. Go away from here, ask them what should come in, tell them what's happened here. We are going to record this whole session. We're going to put it on the website as different bits and pieces, otherwise it's a very long one. Send people to that. Tell them to go and watch it, because then in that sense, they're nearly part of what's happening in here. And then through that, you bring the information back, and we build this thing. And as the caretakers, you'll help us look after this tree. So thank you so much for your time. Enjoy it as well, as much as you can. I hand over to Khalid and them now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to our clients. I'm not going to wait for catch up. There's two things that I need to get through. The first is to welcome everybody and do introductions. So I'm Khalid Jacobs. I'm an urban designer by trade. I'm working with a fantastic team, and we'll do introduction of the team, but we also need to know who is around the table. So we'll do a quick introduction around. So Khalid,
Ilana. Hi.
urban designer.
Mandy, I'm from the student education.
So, thanks, Godfrey.
Tracy, I'm on the cultural science side.
Liesel, you've met.
I'm Ashton. I'm just helping Lisa with the CFK design side.
She's Ashton, and sorry, sorry, young lady.
Nice, District 6 Advocacy Committee. Shanaz Arnold, District 6 Civic Association.
Good to meet you.
Provider for District 7 and Neighborhood Watch.
Neighborhood Watch.
Wahda Jam, District 6 Working Committee.
Ajam, okay.
Zafran Odi, District 6 Working Committee Chairman.
We've met a few times before.
Today I'm from the Department of Design and Informatics at CPT.
Thank you for also representing Rudolph. Good to put a face to you. Kirsten?
Hi, I'm Kirsten Wilkins. I'm from Open Streets, Cape Town.
Andrew?
Hi, I'm Andrew Berman. I'm an urban designer with an interest in heritage.
Rashik?
From Outreach Cities.
I'm Kim Bormans from Caretakers Landscape Architects. We're the landscape architects on the team.
Maria Grimoska, landscape architect working for Terra Plus.
And the back of the room? The back of the room, we've got the guys who don't say anything. They just take the video. Okay. To the community. Okay. In fact, there's some people on Teams at the moment, so we welcome the guys on Teams. Unfortunately, we haven't. I don't know who's on the team, but hello to them. Okay, three more guys. Come to yes. I guess some chairs in front as well. Fawz, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
And see some of my fellow colleagues so yes, District 6 Working Committee.
Young man?
I'm Pavel Parks.
From?
I work with Africa Green Energy Technology, Sustainable System. I'm an
Are
engineer.
you a guest? Are you a guest here?
Yes.
You're a guest, okay. Because you haven't been nominated, that's why I'm suggesting. Just letting the meeting know that he's a guest.
He has been nominated. Just to note, we're worried about COVID capacity. We're only supposed to be 30 in the room. So
So-
if I didn't get back to you yet, that's because we're
Okay.
worried about COVID. Yeah.
But welcome, young man.
Good morning. My name is Craig Dodges and I'm part of the District 6 Working Committee.
Welcome everybody. So welcome to the session. Now I know this series of workshops we're going to have is not going to be easy for us to have the same people in the room all the time, but we'd like to have consistency if that's possible, all right? As Ilana has alluded to, we're very, very concerned about process, all right? To make sure that from our side, we've ticked our boxes. So all the people who've been nominated to represent the 6-6 have gone through a process. And you will know whether you've been nominated and whether you've been elected. So, but we do welcome some friends as well, okay, to enrich our conversation. So the goals and expectations for this workshop, we only want to get to, first of all, build trust. That is the biggest ambition of mine, to make sure that when we work together in a collegial fashion. What that means is we're going to debate things. Right? We're going to have conversations about sensitive issues. A lot of it is impacting people personally. But we're going to try and have the conversations in a way that we can be productive. So we've got a few, and you'll see some of you have received your cards already in terms of those cards. To try and mitigate personal interests in the conversations, we're going to ask that you represent the person on the card. Okay? We'll get to that as well, which means that you're going to put yourself into the shoes of that person, and you're going to make arguments for that.
get later.
I haven't got it yet. Oh, still to come, sorry. Still to come.
The cards that you have received are for seeing which group you're in. So look at the posters up in the walls when we get to group one.
Okay, sorry.
And then you go to that group. But the character cards will
It's coming later. Okay, coming later. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we're going to, so the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of history here. You're working with me. I'm relatively young. I've got my relation to 66 is at an arm's length, right? I've got an uncle who lived there, but that uncle has passed away a while ago, and I very vaguely remember going to visit him. So my direct link to the 66 is vague, and I'll admit that to you. But my role here is not to do your job, and your job is the 66. My role is to talk about my skills, which is urban design, and we'll bring our skills together to make something that's productive for the 66. Okay, and we have a bunch of young people, professionals here. Ilana, my right-hand lady, is much younger than me, you can see. But she's done the bulk of the work putting this presentation, this data together. So we use people's skills where we can to do the ultimate job, which is creating the public space for the 66. We've got young people there who probably as young as Ilana at the back. I don't know why they're hiding at the back. You Rashik and Kirsten. the same thing. I have links, but maybe not. I don't know the story yet. We'll get to know the story. But may have links, tenuous links to the 66. So who we have around the table, and I must say this, who we've got around the table is a diversity of representation. And that we welcome. So we've got some voices from beneficiaries, from advocacy groups, from, I'm not sure if we were able to get all the trust or not. Somebody responded, but we're not sure the trust is represented. But we've also got professionals. We've also got people who advocate for justice in the city. We've got the education department at CPUT. We've got a representation from the mosques, from the churches, and they will hopefully be joining us within the course of the workshops. So we've got a broad representation. But our job for the series is to design public space, or the public realm. You've heard this term, right? Public realm. But I just want to test whether we're on the same page in understanding what that means, what that is. I worked for UN Habitat for a year and a bit in Somalia. And the question that I eventually got to understand, that they understood what space is differently to what I understood space. So when I used to ramble on about space, they used to think about the moon and the stars. Right? But when we talk about space, we talk about something else. Certainly the planning professionals. I don't know how you guys think about space in engineering.
Yeah, to me, I think it's around ecosystems.
Ecosystems.
Put together.
So there we go. So we've got different propositions.
Can you repeat every now and then, because we don't always hear from the other side. Sorry.
I was just saying that to me it's about ecosystems and how various facets of life forms, as it were, fit together.
So in fact, he is talking about bodies, right? And about stuff. He's not talking about maybe what I would think of as space. So let me share with you what space is in my terms, right? Space is the relationship of a body to extents of things. A floor, a ceiling, a wall. So that's the extent of the space. It's called Cartesian space. It's got length, it's got breadth, and it's got height. And that's generally what architects and urban designers and the people in the spatial realm talk about when you talk about space. If you talk about the academic space, you can get into Einstein's theory of relativity, which says that space bends and time bends, which is beyond me. In fact, you can go even further. The n-dimensional manifold of space is an evolution of that thinking of space, which is about mathematical equations. We're not going to go there. That's not us. All we're trying to do is to understand how we, you and I, our children, our elders, fit in space. So space has got edges and it's got character. This is the other thing. Space has got character. And this is a thing that mathematics is very difficult to do with mathematics, which is, what is the character of this room? We got the character of this room because of the materials it's made of, old beams and old stuff. But in this space in District 6 has got much more than the fabric. It's also got meaning that you can't touch. What does this space mean to us? So this is what we're talking about, this space, but not space for personal meetings, but space for communities. So Grand Parade is a place like that. I tell you that the origins of the Grand Parade was Jan van Riebeeck standing with his cannon and shooting out from the corners of his cannon, and he made a space around the castle, which was no man's land. It's called a glacis in military terms. That a leftover space of the no man's land is that it's got a military invasion, oppressive history. Nelson Mandela gave a speech there when he was released. The meaning of it being a military space has now changed to be a space of freedom. So there we can, a very quick example is you can take something and change the meaning and suddenly mean something else. Our Houses of Parliament, same thing, means something else because it's been understood differently. So, okay, so that's a very quick introduction. And that's our task, right? Our task is very simply to think about the public in space. And we'll go through, we'll get there. We'll get to those conversations over the course of the 6 workshops. But today, we only want to build trust and build a vision, 2 things. So the way we're going to do that is we're first going to talk about the past. What is the past? And we would like, particularly the caretakers, to tell us the stories of the past. What is the relation to the 6-6? And Ilana is going to run a little map on that side there, and we're going to point out to where you lived and point out how you went to the public space. Public space may be the main road where you went to buy penny polonies, because that's the only memory I've got. A bus horses, that's my memory, right? Or it was going to mosque or church, or what your rituals were with public space. You know, the street, the play park, that's public space. We'll map that and we'll record your story. We'll put your story in our documents. Okay, so that's the purpose of it, to record very particular stories around the 6-6. We will then talk about the future, which is about building what our ambition is. Now we understand a little bit of our history and what it is. We also want to build a future story. We're going to have a bit of lunch after that. Then after that, we will go for a walk to go and look at what the present is. Because the present reality is a very different reality to what was in the past, a very different reality to what was in our imaginations. It is a dynamic, contested space, not only in your minds, but in a whole bunch of people that use the space, from the Technicon to the taxis, to the buses that park there, to the informal people that is living there informally, to the mosque expanding and contracting into the buildings. So we're going to have a look at that. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, so we'll try and organize ourselves quickly to walk quick, have the conversations, and walk back. Okay. So inshallah, that is the plan. Okay. So on that note, we welcome you. There is a bit of tea floating around somewhere. I don't know where. It's probably outside by now. Please have tea whenever you feel like the need to. We will take a tea break as well, somewhere through the course of the morning, and we will have some lunch. You'll see that Tracy has played some noise, background noise there. Just trying to kind of build the spirit. That's the noise from the 6-6. It's recording from the 6-6, trying to build the spirit of what you hear We'll have some kusistas later, so you can taste the 6-6. And we'll have some lunch also, you can kind of experience that. And part of this is about the geselligheid of the 6-6, the building the connections. Okay, so let's get going then with the real work. The first task we want everyone to do, oh sorry, let me get to the protocols, asseblief. Sorry, I forgot about that. Silana kind of eyeing me. I'm supposed to be wearing my mask all the time, except that maybe when you speak. But I'm going to ask that COVID is real, it's dangerous, and we want to protect ourselves and each other from the disease. So please wear your mask. If you talk, you can take your mask off, but put it back on again. And I would like us to remind each other, if you see one of us, maybe if I'm not wearing my mask, elbow me and tell me to put my mask on. Okay. Any other protocols? Liesel, you're good at reminding me what this is.
Very important, you must have fun.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so shall we then quickly move to the table? So the plan is we want to get to know each other, right? We want to get to know who you are, what your story is, your personal relationship to the 6 is. I've already explained where my personal relationship, 2 memories, Abbas's voices, and I still go to Mitchell's Plain and to Warm Estate to get Abbas's voices. And second was visiting my uncle. I don't know where his house is. I got a vague memory of what it looks like. I don't know where his house is. So let's start the stories, please. Shall we start with Mandy? With your story, Mandy?